Hey everybody, Forrest here with Fofo Astro, and I wanted to give you guys a little observatory update because it's been a while and I think it's about time. So what's new? Well, first of all, you can tell the building construction is complete. The shell is complete. There's a lot of things left to do like automation, rotation, shutter, all those things, but we're weathered in, so to speak. By the way, happy 2022. I should say that to all of you out there who are watching. I really appreciate you all following my channel. The other new thing is we've added power and data out here. We've got an actual connection. So this was a huge part of the process. I didn't want this observatory to be solar powered like my last one. You guys, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that my wife and I moved, and in the new house, I wanted to bring the observatory to the new house, but I didn't want to go with solar. So what that meant was it meant running power. Well, unfortunately, the nearest power was 450 feet away from where the observatory was going to be, and we needed to sink basically 2-inch conduit down 2 feet in the ground for a 450-foot run. To make that even worse, I also wanted data out here. I wanted to have connectivity with internet direct connect to my house so that I can run everything remotely. And 450 feet is really past the limit of what a standard copper connection can do. So I actually ran fiber through the ground to my house as well. So that was actually a separate conduit that also had to be run. So that was the majority of the work to build this. The NextDome itself went up very quickly. It was really all those accessories that needed to happen. Let me show you guys that. So right here you can see here's the main power box coming in, and this is a 100 amp service. You guys can see right there. We've only got one breaker in there right now because all we've got is just one outlet for the time being. That's obviously going to be expanded as time goes on. But you guys can see my electrician did a phenomenal job kind of mounting some unistrut into the ground and then mounting this panel to the unistrut. Also right here is the fiber cable. That's an SFP plus fiber cable. Well, no, it's a multi-mode fiber cable that is then hooked up to an SFP plus adapter. And that goes right into a switch that I have from the company Unify, and that will connect everything. So basically the house, which is way out there, that's the shed, but the house, which is way out there off camera, we had to run a trench all the way up to the observatory and get ourselves power in here. And let me tell you, that was a huge bit of work. So I'll put some photos up from that process. I don't have much because it was just mostly like buckle down and do it in the heat of the summer. And we actually finished it right before the weather came in. I'm lucky enough to have a good friend who's an electrician, so we did it together. It's a lot of fun. It's a good project. Having friends in the trades is a really nice thing. So that was pretty cool. And then also you guys can see we have the mount in here now. So we've got the mount all up and in. It's not powered yet, but it's connected to the pier, got the pier top plate on, it's all leveled up. So it's ready for the scope, it's ready for the rotation, but there's a lot of kind of observatory stuff left. So just to show you guys that as well, if I show you down here, here's all the stuff from NextDome. So if you're wondering kind of what NextDome ships, that's the shutter mechanism right there. That is the rotation track. That's some shutter power. This is the rotation motor, the rotation gear. So all this just needs to basically get put up on the walls around in a circle, and then we'll have the ability to run this all remotely, which should be pretty sweet. I will say a few notes on NextDome. I have received great customer service from Eva, who's I think the kind of like assistant to the owner of NextDome over the past few months since buying this. If you all remember, I bought this used actually down in Phoenix and drove it up here. It had been used for about a week. And even though it's a used observatory, they've been supporting it really well. Eva's been giving me a lot of help, and that's been great. I will say though, and obviously I'm not being paid by NextDome, so I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion, there's some sketchy stuff with these observatories. They're not, should we say, plug and play. It's not a matter of spend the money and it just all fits together. I would almost wager that I had an easier time building and less frustration building my own roll roof observatory versus trying to get this dome to work. And I haven't even worked with the automation software yet. Now, I'm a handy person. Construction kind of comes naturally to me. So that part of it, like the idea of building a shed, is very simple in my eyes. But this is not a plug-and-play solution. So those of you out there looking at this, and I think that the opposite could be true of the Exploradome and kind of the higher end stuff, the Astro Havens. I used one of those in college, one of those kind of clamshell Astro Havens. It was phenomenal. It worked. The team came in, $30,000 later on the roof of my college, and they did a great job. But it worked perfectly. So I think that it's almost a matter of you get what you pay for. Snow's coming off the roof right now. With that said, for the price, this is pretty hard to beat because I would be probably spending comparably the same or even a little bit more to do another roll roof observatory. And I really like the form factor and the look and the ease and the small opening of the dome. So all in, I think it's worth what you pay for it. Just don't go into a NextDome experience expecting things to work perfectly right out of the box without any sort of modification, cutting, whatever it might be. And we'll kind of talk about that. I do want to show you guys one thing outside that I specifically had to work on a little bit to make work a little better. So let's check that out. It'll kind of be a good illustration of what I mean. All right, so this right here is the door of the NextDome. You can see the door right here is this poly or ABS plastic piece. And then this is the wall. And there's this rubber gasket that fits all the way around the door and seals it. Now, you have to take a lot of care when you're putting the observatory together to make sure that all of these aluminum supports are plumb and level and all that good stuff. Because if they're not, the door won't fit flush. So I took the time, I made them plumb, made them level, got them all perfect. And still, even despite all of that work, let me seal this up, there was still a gap between the top of the door and the wall panel. So water would just basically, let me kind of zoom out a little bit, water would just run right off the edge of the dome and drip right off that little rotation part right into the door. And I had water running down the inside of my door and basically soaking the floor just inside the door. So what I did was I cut myself a little hat brim, basically. This piece right here did not come with this observatory. Let me get a high view there for you guys so you can really see it. That piece did not come with the observatory. I cut that out of a little bit of extra ABS plastic that I had, and I bolted it using the same bolts onto the mechanism. So you guys can see there are the bolts right there. And if I show you the profile, you can see what that does. It basically means so the water that runs down the roof hits this little hat bill and drips off the front, and it doesn't end up going behind the door. And that right there is a classic example of one example of the things that you have to do to make one of these buildings work. It's just not perfect right out of the box. Now, I will give Eva and the NextDome team a lot of credit. They have a lot of really great fixes and solutions, and they'll be very quick to send you another piece of weather stripping for your door or to offer a suggestion to try to fix it. So they go above and beyond with the customer service. It's more that the product is not as refined as it could be. And I am excited when I get all the rotation mechanism done and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna do a full review on the NextDome, kind of go over, nitpick all the different things. But overall right now, I've been super happy with it. You guys can see there's my octagonal frame going down there, right? We talked about that in the build videos. You can see over here, the wood is still in really good shape, which is awesome. There's my grounding rod, the electrician left, there's the conduit going up. So overall, like construction-wise, fairly simple process. It went very smoothly. I enjoyed it, but fit and finish is really what's lacking. So where to now? Well, I figured that I finished this video kind of by talking about what the next steps are. It was a huge push this summer and fall and early winter to get all this done by the time the snow flew. We had a trench running 450 feet down our yard. We wanted to get that laid and filled in, so there wasn't time for filming. We were also moving. There's a lot of things going on. So this whole process, now that we're kind of weathered in, I want to take my time with it. So I do want to bring you guys along for the ride. I'm going to talk about the rotation mechanism a little bit. We're going to talk about the shutter mechanism when we do it. We're going to talk about mounting the scope, kind of walk you guys through this process. I definitely did not have the time to do as much of that as I thought I would, again, because we were kind of under the gun with the impending weather coming in, and we weren't getting moved in as quickly as I had hoped. There are a lot of unknown projects when you move into a new house. For those of you who've done that, you know what I'm talking about. With all that said, I'm super excited for 2022 and what it holds. I think there's a lot of amazing things. I'm so excited to shoot the sky. It's been clear the last few nights and I've just been looking up like, I wish that I could get my dome motorized and do all this stuff. I don't have a tripod for my mount, so I can't really like put it out on the porch and do that. I kind of need the dome working in order to function. But I'm so excited to get back into it and get out there and do it. Also, it's really cool to see all the YouTubers and all the people in the astro community that have started to really take off and do a lot of great work. So really cool to see the astro community growing and flourishing and being happy. That's great to see. Anyway, if you guys like this video, I know it was a long one. I wanted to give you guys an update, say happy 2022. I missed all of you. If you like this video, drop a like on it. I would really appreciate that. If you have a comment, anything like that, leave it in the comment section down below. And lastly, hit subscribe to stay up to date with future updates, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Oh, one little add-on. I'm teaching in an event called the Night Photo Summit, and I'll leave a link down in the description. Basically, it's a lot of the best night photography educators out there who are teaching a whole like 3-day weekend on night photography, and I've been asked to do kind of some specific stuff on astrophotography. Be super basic. If you've been doing astro for a while, I definitely think it would probably be too basic for you. But if you're just getting started in this, it can be a great way to learn some really cool stuff about night photography and also specifically astro. So I'll leave a link down in the description for those of you who are interested. It would be super sweet to have some of my YouTube viewers there watching live during that event. So check that out if you're interested.